Yo, what's poppin' Pokepals? Rare Boy here, and I'm back with another impossible Pokemon challenge. Today we're going to find out if it's possible to beat Pokemon Fire Red using only a Typeless Arceus. The reason why I chose a Typeless Arceus as opposed to just Arceus is because Arceus was not only requested in a previous video, yes, I read your comments, but also because a Typeless version of Arceus has never been available before, so this could be fun. Before we can even begin our challenge, I first need to import Typeless Arceus' sprite into our version of Pokemon Fire Red. I actually made the color scheme myself using the Typeless icon as a color palette. Once the sprites are in the game, I then need to edit the game's internal data, so this once empty data now functions exactly like a Typeless Arceus would. I code in its base stats and move pool. Now that our Typeless Arceus is in our game, let's review the rules of the run. The first rule is that I'm only allowed to use Typeless Arceus in battle. We are allowed to capture other Pokemon for HM usage, but they cannot assist Typeless Arceus by any other means. The second rule is that I'm not allowed to use items in battle. Held items such as leftovers are okay, but items such as X items or Hyper Potions are banned until the battle has ended. And finally, no glitches or exploits will be used to complete this game. It's just a normal playthrough of Pokemon Fire Red, but with the Typeless Arceus. With the rules explained in our Typeless Arceus in-game, let's jump into some gameplay. The first thing that I do is pick up our Arceus from Professor Oak's lab. For this run, I replace Squirtle so our rival takes Bulbasaur for even more of a challenge. I nickname our fallen god Deity for obvious reasons. I take a look at its stats and it has a careful nature, which means more special defense but less special attack, which isn't ideal. With Deity on the team though, it's time to conquer the Kanto region. I went straight for Brock as we have a set damaging move in Seismic Toss, and it did decent damage at level 10. Since we are typeless, we can't get stab on any of our moves, but we also can't get hit for weakness, so it's a double-edged sword. After teaching Arceus Rock Tomb and Bullet Seed through TMs, I attempted our rival at Nugget Bridge at level 17, and now you will get to see why I chose Bulbasaur as our rival. Aside from him having two Intimidators towards the end of the game, Bulba and Ivy have status moves like Leech Seed and Sleep Powder, which our rival puts on full display in this fight to whittle us down. Who knew Bulbasaur was stronger than Arceus? I guess now we know who the real #1 Pokemon is. After such an embarrassing defeat, I tried my luck at Misty, and we even lost to her. Despite us having a super effective move in Bullet Seed, it is just far too weak to deal reliable damage. On top of that, Starmie keeps healing with Recover, and we keep getting confused by Water Pulse. I would have never guessed an Arceus run would be going this bad. I took on our rival again at level 25, and without even proper EV training our Arceus, our moves dealt significantly more damage. I even maxed out my defense with Cosmic Power against Abra to ensure we were safe against Bulbasaur. Once we get past the route above, we should be ready for Misty. On our second attempt against Misty, our Bullet Seeds were enough to take down Staryu, and I replaced Cosmic Power with Secret Power, which was enough to two-shot Starmie for a smooth victory. I went straight for the SSN, where we were greeted once again by our rival. Now that I have Brick Break and learned Hyper Voice mid-fight though, we completely shut him down. I think it's fair to say that no matter what moves I have, this is still an Arceus, and thus will be an easy match nonetheless. Lieutenant Surge time, and aside from Voltorb negating our Hyper Voice with Soundproof, this was a very simple fight. Very disappointing to say the least, but on to Celadon I guess. So, after traversing the rock tunnel, we make it to Giovanni, and there isn't really much to say. Come to think of it, there isn't much to say for a majority of this run. Arceus is just that good, what can I say? Thanks to teaching Arceus Aerial Ace, we made mincemeat out of Erika's Pokemon. Man, the move variety in this run is insane, and these aren't even high-powered attacks we're using, aside from Brick Break, but I'll keep nerfing Deity as the run goes on. Maybe. Another rival fight at Pokemon Tower, and now that we've progressed far enough in this run, our rival now has a Growlithe as well as a Gyarados, both of which have Intimidate, which is one way I figured I'd nerf our Arceus. On top of that, the levels are catching up to us quickly because of how fast we're progressing, so it shouldn't be too long before we hit a roadblock. And of course our first roadblock is Koga, because why wouldn't it be? Our moves are just shy of KOing his Pokemon, so with a few more levels we could totally win. I don't see our rival being any easier with his enhanced team, so let's try leveling up and trying Koga again. I try this fight again at level 50, and I know I can very easily get Psychic and wipe Koga off the face of the earth, but that wouldn't be much of a nerf to our Arceus now, would it? It looks like I'm gonna have to though, otherwise I'll just get way over leveled. On my third attempt, I gave Arceus Psychic and just decimated Koga. I'd rather give Arceus a powerful move than just over-leveling it. At least with the lower levels, we might have a chance of losing, which makes the video a little more entertaining for you guys. At Sylph Tower, we meet up with our rival Morty once again, and he was still easy, but his Venusaur could be problematic with his darn sleep powder. We woke up quickly this time, but who knows how it will play out in the future. I went to Giovanni's fight all cocky like I don't need to heal, I have an Arceus. But Nidoqueen somehow survives our surf and paralyzed us with Body Slam, putting us in a sticky situation. Thankfully, Giovanni made some questionable move choices, allowing us to take home a victory, but that was too close for comfort. The next heathen on our list of sinners is Sabrina, who tried to repent for her sins with hyper potions, but in the end she too fell to the wrath of God and was banished to the underworld. What? Look, I'm trying to make this as entertaining as possible for you all. I felt like I was on an episode of Chicago FD the way we extinguished Blaine's fire types with our surf. All that's left now is one final fight against Giovanni. Despite Giovanni now having higher levels than last time, he was even easier this time around. I think it's because they removed Kanga from his team. I get it, she isn't a ground type, but she could easily pull off that ground typing. Even if she didn't get the ground typing, Giovanni has used a Persian in his yellow team, so he's no stranger to using non-ground types. I just feel like this final fight against him is either really easy or really hard, depending on how well you can handle ground types. Also, I said ground types way too many times in that sentence. One final rival fight before the Elite Four, and this should be the last easy fight on the run, as everything from here on out is going to be over-leveled, and I refuse to grind anymore to make this an actual challenge. I am going to update our moveset though, just so it's better suited for the Elite Four, so let's see how we do. Here are our stats just outside the Elite Four, and they're excellent as you'd expect from an Arceus. I also updated our moveset to meet each Elite Four member's specialty. We have Thunderbolt for Lorelai's team, Psychic and Surf for Bruno's team, Psychic and Thunderbolt for Agatha's team, and Ice Beam for Lance. The champion fight is going to be a smorgasbord of attacks, but I think these types cover him as well. Let's see if we can win at this level. Well, I took on Lorelai, and we are just shy of defeating her because we don't have coverage for Jinx. If Arceus didn't suffer from 4 move slot syndrome, I would have easily fit Flamethrower on this moveset to handle her, but I have to deal with what I'm given. I'll keep trying until I win. Okay, so here we are at level 58, and I know what you're thinking, but Rare, you said you weren't gonna grind, and technically I didn't. I just kept versing Lorelai and losing until I got this attempt. But I gained some levels in the losing matches. So I didn't intentionally grind, I just lost so many times I gained a few levels. Anyways, at this level we finally have the firepower to defeat all of Lorelai's Pokemon, just barely as we scrape by with the crit and defrosted early as you can see here. Hopefully I don't lose and have to face her again. Next up is Bruno, and just as I expected, a few Surfs and Psychics were enough to obliterate his team. It's a good thing we got a crit on Hitmonlee though, because all 3 Hitmons have solid special defense stat. Also, we got a high roll on our second Psychic against Machamp, so it wasn't a complete walk in the park. Despite being an Arceus and having Psychic, Agatha put up a bit of a fight. Her Arbok miraculously survived our Psychic pretty well and got a Screech off before going down, and then Agatha's Ace Gengar survived just out of healing range and put us to sleep with Hypnosis. Thankfully, we woke up quickly because if she continued to assault us with Sludge Bombs, which are physical in this generation, we could have been in trouble, so yet another interesting fight. Lance was yet another interesting fight, as Aerodactyl somehow survived our 95 base power Surf and got a Scary Face off, lowering our speed. He then thankfully missed a Hyper Beam before going down, but because of the speed drop, Dragonite was able to land a decent Outrage on us before going down. It wasn't a concerning fight once these two threats were down. I'm just still surprised Aerodactyl managed to survive a Surf from an Arceus. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. The final fight against the champion. And you know something? This was a close fight. We actually couldn't one-shot a lot of his Pokemon, so we wound up taking a hit here and there. Pidgeot managed to land an Aerial Ace on us. Alakazam then got off a Psychic on us. Thankfully he only hit one because two might have actually finished us. Arcanine got off a Flamethrower, and Venusaur could have gone for Solar Beam to finish us off, but thankfully he only went for Growth turn 1, and then we got a high roll Ice Beam for the knockout. So all in all, it was a pretty close fight. And with this victory, we registered a Typeless Arceus into the Kanto Hall of Fame. I was by no means expecting a challenge from today's video, but I'll do pretty much anything for you guys if you suggest it, so long as it falls under the quote-unquote impossible category. Always check the description of my videos to see what counts as quote-unquote impossible. Speaking of future runs, for our next challenge, we're going to find out if we can beat Pokemon Silver using the Lost Evolution of Magnemite, which I'll be explaining in my upcoming video, so if you don't want to miss that run, be sure to subscribe and stay tuned. Also, be sure to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. In the comments section, I want to know what your favorite part of today's run was. This has been your boy Rare Boy, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace!
Red, white, and blue, yeah, I love this place.
Excuse me, did you just watch this video? You must have if you made it this far into the video. And yet you haven't liked, commented, shared, or subscribed. The Rare Boy working very hard on these videos. Please do the man a favor.